a land where time moves differently, where ancient churches are carved into living rock, where mountains rise like cathedrals, and where the earth itself seems to breathe fire. Welcome to Ethiopia, a country that refuses to fit inside a single story. From the highlands that touch the sky to the deserts that glow with otherworldly color, Ethiopia is a place of extremes of breathtaking beauty and fierce survival. This is not a travel destination. This is a journey into the heart of a nation that has shaped history, preserved traditions, and still holds mysteries that the world has yet to fully understand. Stay with me, because over the next chapters, we'll explore landscapes that feel unreal, meet communities living in ways the world has almost forgotten, and uncover the secrets of a land that has always been more than what it appears to be. Before the world learned to measure time, before borders, before written memory, there was a land where humanity first opened its eyes, a place where footsteps echo through millions of years, where faith feels older than stone, and where every mountain, river, and village seems to whisper a forgotten beginning. This is Ethiopia, not just a destination, but a living origin story. A land that does not ask to be visited, but to be understood. Ethiopia rises from the Horn of Africa like a continent within a country, vast, complex, and impossible to reduce to a single image. From soaring highlands to sun-scorched deserts, from fertile valleys to ancient cities, its landscapes shift as dramatically as its history. This is one of the few places on Earth that was never colonized, a nation that stood firm while the world around it changed. That independence is not just political. It lives in the language, the culture, the rhythm of daily life. Here, history is not locked inside museums. It walks beside you. It lives in stone churches, carved directly from mountains, in manuscripts guarded by candlelight, in traditions passed hand to hand across generations. Ethiopia is often called the cradle of humanity, and not as a metaphor. Fossils discovered here tell the story of our earliest ancestors, beings who first stood upright and looked toward the horizon. In Ethiopia, the past is not distant, it is present. Traveling through this land feels less like movement and more like time travel. One moment you are standing in a bustling modern city, the next you are on a dirt path where life has followed the same rhythm for centuries. Donkeys carry water, farmers work the soil by hand, and prayers rise with the morning sun. Time slows here, not because life is simple, but because it is deeply rooted. Faith runs through Ethiopia like a second bloodstream. Christianity arrived here in the 4th century and never left. Ancient churches still ring with chants unchanged for generations. Islam, too, found early refuge in this land, welcomed when it was still new to the world. Different beliefs coexist not as opposites, but as threads in the same fabric. Religion here is not performance, it is daily life. Nature mirrors this intensity. Ethiopia's highlands, often called the roof of Africa, stretch wide and green, broken by dramatic cliffs and deep valleys. Rivers begin their long journeys here, including the Blue Nile, which carries Ethiopian rain across continents. In the lowlands, the earth opens into volcanic deserts that look more like another planet than Earth itself. Beauty and danger exist side by side. But Ethiopia's greatest depth is its people. More than 80 ethnic groups call this land home, each with its own language, traditions, and identity. Diversity here is not recent or forced. It is ancient and organic. Hospitality is not a gesture, it is a duty. Strangers are welcomed, coffee is shared, stories are exchanged. Even in hardship, dignity remains. This journey is not about ticking locations off a map. It is about listening, about seeing beyond headlines and statistics. Ethiopia is often misunderstood, reduced to moments of crisis, its beauty overlooked. But those who come with open eyes discover something rare, a place that challenges, humbles, and stays with you long after you leave. As we begin this journey through Ethiopia, understand this. You are not just traveling across land. You are moving through layers of human existence itself, through origins, faith, resilience, and soul. This is where the story begins. At first glance, Addis Ababa moves fast. Traffic hums, people flow through. The streets, glass buildings rise beside concrete blocks, and the city feels alive with urgency. But listen closely, and you will hear something deeper beneath the noise. Addis Ababa is not just a capital city. It is a crossroads of history, culture, and identity, a place where the past and the present walk side by side, never fully separating. The name Addis Ababa means new flower, yet there is nothing young about its soul. Founded in the late 19th century, the city grew quickly, becoming the political heart of Ethiopia and, eventually, of Africa itself. Today, Addis Ababa hosts the African Union, earning it the title of Africa's diplomatic capital. Decisions made here ripple across the continent, but the city never feels distant or untouchable. Power and everyday life exist on the same streets. Walk through Addis, and the city reveals itself in layers. Modern cafes sit next to traditional coffee houses, where time slows and conversation matters. The aroma of freshly roasted beans fills the air, drifting from small stalls where coffee ceremonies unfold with quiet grace. This ritual is not a performance for visitors. It is a daily act of connection, patience, and respect. In Addis Ababa, coffee is not consumed. It is shared. Markets pulse with life. Mercado, one of the largest open-air markets in Africa, stretches endlessly, a maze of color, sound, and movement. Here, traders call out prices, metal clangs, spices perfume the air, and everything from electronics, livestock changes hands. It can feel overwhelming, but Mercado reflects the true spirit of the city. Resourceful, relentless, and alive. Nothing is wasted. Everything has purpose. History stands quietly among the chaos. Museums preserve stories that shape not just Ethiopia, but humanity itself. In Addis Ababa, the past is not distant. It is personal. Artifacts, manuscripts, and fossils tell stories of empires, resistance, and origins. The city reminds you that Ethiopia's role in history is not a footnote. It is foundational. Music spills from doorways and taxis, blending traditional rhythms with modern sounds. Addis Ababa gave birth to Ethio jazz, a genre that carries both melancholy and pride. At night, the city softens. Restaurants glow with warm light, laughter rises over shared meals, and injera is torn by hand, not cut. Food here is communal. You eat together, from the same plate, reinforcing a sense of belonging. Faith remains present, even in the rush. Churches and mosques stand calmly as the city moves around them. Bells ring, calls to prayer echo, and worshippers pause without urgency. Addis Ababa does not separate belief from daily life. It weaves it in naturally, quietly. Yet this city is also honest about its struggles. Inequality is visible. Old neighborhoods sit beside new developments. Progress and hardship exist together, not hidden from each other. But there is resilience in how people adapt, create, and continue forward. Addis Ababa does not pretend to be perfect. It survives, evolves, and endures. To truly understand Ethiopia, you must begin here. Addis Ababa is not the loudest chapter of the story, but it is the one that connects everything else. It holds the nation's memory, its ambition, and its contradictions. A city that looks forward without letting go of where it came from. In Addis Ababa, you do not simply arrive. You enter a rhythm, one shaped by history, strengthened by resilience, and carried forward by people who know exactly who they are. There are places in the world that feel constructed by human hands, and then there are places that feel revealed as if they were always there, waiting to be uncovered. Lalibela is one of those places. Hidden in the highlands of northern Ethiopia, it does not rise toward the sky. It descends into the earth, a sacred city carved not from ambition, but from devotion. The journey to Lalibela winds through rugged terrain, where the land folds into itself and time seems to slow with every turn. When you arrive, there is no grand skyline, no towering monuments announcing their presence. Instead, the ground opens quietly, and suddenly, you are standing at the edge of history itself. 11 churches, carved directly from solid rock, shaped downward into the earth, connected by narrow passageways and ancient courtyards. Built not to impress the eye, but to humble the soul. These churches were carved in the 12th century, during the reign of King Lalibela, who envisioned a new Jerusalem after pilgrimage routes to the Holy Land became too dangerous. What makes Lalibela extraordinary is not just the precision of the carving, but the intention behind it. Each church was carved from a single block of stone, chiseled from top to bottom, without modern tools, guided only by faith, patience, and an unwavering belief in something greater than human limitation. Walking through Lalibela feels like stepping into a living prayer. The stone walls are cool to the touch, worn smooth by centuries of hands. Crosses are carved into every surface, symbols layered upon symbols, each telling a story of sacrifice and devotion. Narrow tunnels force visitors to bow as they pass through, not by design, but by consequence. Humility is unavoidable here. The most iconic of these structures is the Church of St. George, carved in the shape of a perfect cross and hidden below ground level. From above, it appears as an opening in the earth. From within, it feels like standing inside a heartbeat. Pilgrims arrive barefoot, draped in white cloth, whispering prayers that have echoed here for generations. Their faith is not loud or performative. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. What makes Lalibela truly unique is that it is not a relic. It is alive. Worship continues daily. Priests carry ancient manuscripts, some written on animal skin, illuminated by candlelight. Chants rise and fall in a rhythm unchanged for centuries. There is no separation between past and present. The same spaces that witnessed devotion hundreds of years ago continue to do so today. Faith here is physical. It is felt in the climb-up stone steps worn down by time, in the scent of incense hanging in the air, in the slow movements of worshippers wrapped in tradition. Even for those who do not share the belief, Lalibela commands respect. It asks you to slow down, to observe, to listen. Outside the churches, the town itself moves gently. Life here is simple but purposeful. Children play near ancient walls. Elders sit in quiet reflection. The modern world feels distant, not because it is rejected, but because it is unnecessary. Lalibela does not compete for attention. It waits. In a world that often builds upward to be seen, Lalibela was carved downward to be felt. It stands as a reminder that some of humanity's greatest achievements are not measured in height or scale, but in intention and meaning. Lalibela is not just a destination. It is an experience that stays with you. A place where stone becomes prayer, where history breathes, and where devotion has literally shaped the earth itself. The land begins to rise long before the mountains reveal themselves. The air cools, the horizon stretches wider, and the world feels quieter. This is the Ethiopian highlands, a vast elevated heart that shapes the country's climate, culture, and character. Often called the roof of Africa, these highlands are not just a landscape. They are a backbone, holding together centuries of survival, isolation, and strength. Here, the earth breaks dramatically. Cliffs fall away into deep valleys, plateaus roll endlessly, and rivers carve their paths with patience measured in thousands of years. The Simien Mountains stand at the center of this world, sharp and untamed, rising like natural fortresses. Their jagged peaks and sheer drop-offs feel almost unreal, as if sculpted by imagination rather than erosion. Standing at the edge of these cliffs, the scale of the land humbles even the most seasoned traveler. Life in the highlands follows the rhythm of altitude and season. Villages cling to slopes, fields are carved into terraces, and farming remains a delicate balance between soil, rain, and resilience. Oxen pull plows across rocky ground, just as they have for generations. The work is hard, but there is pride in it. Survival here has never been guaranteed, and that uncertainty has shaped a deep connection to the land. Wildlife thrives in isolation. The Simien Mountains are home to species found nowhere else on Earth. Galata monkeys roam the cliffs in vast numbers, their red chests glowing against the green grass as they graze peacefully near dizzying drop-offs. Ethiopian wolves move quietly through the high-altitude grasslands, rare and watchful, symbols of endurance in an unforgiving environment. These animals are not hidden behind fences or reserves. They exist as part of the land's natural order. As the sun moves across the sky, the mountains change color. Morning light softens the cliffs. Afternoon shadows deepen the valleys. And at sunset, the entire landscape glows with warmth. Silence becomes a presence of its own, broken only by wind and distant calls. In this stillness, the modern world feels very far away. Yet the highlands are not empty. Faith and tradition are woven into the landscape. Ancient churches stand on hilltops and hidden plateaus, often reachable only by foot. Pilgrims travel long distances to reach them, guided by belief rather than convenience. These sacred spaces remind you that spirituality here is not confined to walls. It is tied to place, elevation, and effort. The highlands have also served as natural protection throughout history. Their difficult terrain shielded Ethiopia from invasion, allowing cultures and kingdoms to develop with relative independence. Isolation became strength, distance became defense. The land itself played a role in shaping a nation that learned to rely on its own resilience. To travel through the Ethiopian highlands is to move through a space where nature and humanity have negotiated coexistence for centuries. Nothing here is accidental. Every path, terrace, and settlement is a response to the land's demands. In the Simien Mountains and beyond, Ethiopia reveals another layer of its identity. Strong, patient, and deeply connected to place. These highlands do not impress through comfort or ease. They inspire through endurance. They remind us that some of the most powerful landscapes are those that challenge us to slow down, to respect, and to listen. The heat arrives before the landscape fully reveals itself. It presses against the skin, heavy and unrelenting, as if the air itself is alive. This is the Danakil Depression, one of the hottest and most extreme places on Earth. A land that feels less like part of our planet and more like a vision from another world. Here, Ethiopia shows its most raw and unforgiving face. The Danakil lies below sea level, a vast geological scar shaped by volcanic forces still very much awake. The ground shimmers with color. Yellows, greens, reds, and whites spill across the surface, created by sulfur, salt, and minerals rising from deep within the earth. Toxic gases escape through cracks in the ground, and acidic pools bubble quietly, reminding you that the planet beneath your feet is constantly moving. At the heart of this alien landscape stands Erta Ale, one of the few volcanoes on Earth with a permanent lava lake. Its name means smoking mountain, and it earns that title without effort. At night, molten lava glows against the darkness, breathing slowly like a living thing. The sight is both mesmerizing and unsettling. It forces a realization that the Earth is not passive. It creates and destroys on its own terms. Despite the extreme conditions, life persists. The Afar people have lived here for generations, adapting to a land most would consider uninhabitable. They move through the desert with confidence and knowledge passed down through centuries. Camels carry salt across vast distances, continuing an ancient trade that once supplied entire regions. Salt caravans still cut across the white plains, men walking for days beneath an unforgiving sun, guided by stars in memory. Water is scarce, shade is rare, and temperatures often rise beyond what the human body welcomes. Yet daily life continues. Children play, families gather, and traditions hold strong. Survival here is not accidental. It is learned, practiced, and respected. The land demands awareness, and those who live here listen carefully. The silence of the Danakil is different from any other. It is not peaceful, it is alert. Wind moves across salt flats, crunching beneath each step. The horizon blurs in the heat, creating mirages that feel almost intentional. Time stretches in this environment. Minutes feel longer. Movement feels deliberate. Every action carries weight. Geologists call this region a place where continents are slowly tearing apart. The African plate is splitting, and one day, far in the future, a new ocean may form here. Standing in the Danakil, you are witnessing the earth in transition, creation unfolding in real time, indifferent to comfort or beauty. And yet, there is a strange elegance to this harshness. The colors, the textures, the sheer scale of exposure create a beauty that is difficult to define. It is not inviting, but it is unforgettable. The Danakil does not offer safety or ease. It offers perspective. In this place of fire and salt, Ethiopia reveals another truth. Life does not always flourish where conditions are kind. Sometimes it survives where conditions are cruel. The Danakil Depression stands as a reminder of the planet's power and humanity's resilience. A place where the Earth speaks loudly, and only those willing to listen truly understand. In the remote corners of southern Ethiopia, far from highways and city lights, time seems to move by a different measure. Here, the land opens into wide plains, winding rivers, and scattered villages where tradition is not preserved for display, but lived every single day. This is the Omo Valley, one of the most culturally diverse regions on Earth, and a place where humanity's oldest ways of life still breathe. Ethiopia is home to more than 80 ethnic groups, but nowhere is that diversity more visible than here. Each community carries its own language, customs, and identity, shaped by environment, belief, and history. To travel through the Omo Valley is not to observe culture from a distance, but to witness living systems of meaning that have survived for centuries. The people of this region are deeply connected to the land. Rivers determine seasons, cattle define wealth, and survival depends on cooperation. Among many communities, cattle are more than livestock. They represent status, security, and pride. Songs are sung to them, names are given to them, and lives revolve around their care. This relationship is not symbolic, it is essential. Adornment here tells stories. Scarification marks rites of passage. Beads, clay, feathers, and paint express identity, age, and belonging. These are not decorations chosen for beauty alone. They communicate who a person is, where they come from, and what they have endured. The human body becomes a canvas of history and meaning. Daily life follows patterns refined over generations. Women gather water and prepare food with practiced skill. Men tend cattle, hunt, and protect their communities. Elders guide decisions, preserving wisdom through spoken word rather than written record. Knowledge is passed through observation, repetition, and trust. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is wasted. What stands out most is the strength of community. Life here is collective. Decisions are shared, celebrations are communal, and hardships are faced together. Individual survival depends on the group, and the group depends on shared responsibility. In a world increasingly defined by isolation, the Omo Valley offers a different model, one rooted in connection. But this world is changing. Roads reach further. Outside influences grow stronger. Younger generations face questions their ancestors never did. How to balance tradition with modern pressures. How to protect identity without becoming invisible. These challenges are real and ongoing, felt quietly rather than announced. It is important to approach this region with respect. These communities are not exhibits or relics of the past. They are people living in the present, navigating change on their own terms. Their traditions are not frozen in time. They adapt, evolve, and respond, just as all cultures do. As the sun sets over the plains, fires glow softly, and conversations continue under open skies. Stories are told, laughter carries through the air, and life settles into evening rhythm. In these moments, it becomes clear that culture here is not something owned. It is something shared, protected, and lived. The Omo Valley reveals a deeper truth about Ethiopia, that its richness does not come only from monuments or landscapes, but from people who have held onto identity through time, climate, and change. In their presence, we are reminded that diversity is not a challenge to humanity. It is its greatest strength. In Ethiopia, coffee is not just a drink. It is a story, a ceremony, and a bond that connects people across generations. Long before coffee traveled the world, before it filled cafes and fueled cities, it grew wild in the highlands of this land. Ethiopia is not simply a producer of coffee. It is its birthplace, and that origin shapes everything about how coffee is understood here. The journey begins in the forests of Kaffa, where coffee plants still grow naturally beneath tall canopies. The air is cool and rich, with the scent of earth and leaves. Here, coffee is not cultivated in neat rows. It exists as part of the ecosystem, intertwined with the land that gave it life. These forests are quiet, witnesses to a global story that began in simplicity. Legend speaks of a goat herder named Kaldi, who noticed his animals energized after eating red berries. Whether fact or myth, the story captures something true. Coffee in Ethiopia has always been tied to observation, curiosity, and connection. From forest to village, coffee moved not as a commodity, but as a shared experience. Across the country, the coffee ceremony remains one of the most important social rituals. When a ceremony begins, time slows. Green beans are washed, roasted over open flame, and ground by hand. The aroma fills the space, drawing people closer. Cups are arranged carefully. Incense burns softly. Nothing is rushed. This is not about efficiency. It is about presence. The ceremony is an invitation. Neighbors gather. Conversations unfold. News is shared. Disagreements softened. Relationships strengthened. 3 rounds of coffee are served, each with its own meaning. To refuse is to refuse connection. To accept is to become part of the moment. In a fast world, this ritual insists on patience. Coffee also tells the story of Ethiopia's land. Different regions produce distinct flavors, shaped by altitude, soil, and climate. From bright, floral notes to deep, earthy tones, each cup carries a sense of place. Farmers tend their crops with care, passed down through generations. Harvesting remains largely done by hand, ensuring quality over speed. Yet coffee is more than tradition. It is livelihood. Millions depend on it for survival. Markets rise and fall. Weather shifts bring uncertainty. Still, the connection remains strong. Coffee is treated with respect, not because it is profitable, but because it is part of identity. In cities, modern cafes blend tradition with contemporary life. In rural villages, ceremonies remain unchanged. Both exist without conflict. This balance reflects Ethiopia itself, rooted yet adaptive, proud yet open. As steam rises from the cup, it carries more than aroma. It carries history. Each sip connects forest, farmer, host, and guest. It bridges past and present without words. To understand Ethiopia, you must sit and share coffee, not as a tourist, but as a listener. In that shared silence and conversation, the country reveals itself quietly. Ethiopia does not rush its stories. Like coffee, it asks you to slow down, to wait, and to truly taste what has been offered. Long before maps defined borders and empires rose and fell, a powerful kingdom stood at the crossroads of Africa and the ancient world. Its influence stretched across trade routes, belief systems, and legends that continue to shape Ethiopia's identity today. This is Axum, a place where history and myth exist so closely together that separating them feels impossible. The ruins of Axum rise quietly from the northern highlands, scattered across open fields and village paths. Massive stone obelisks, carved from single blocks of granite, stand as silent witnesses to a forgotten era. Some reach toward the sky with precise markings that resemble windows and doors, symbols of a civilization that mastered engineering without modern tools. These monuments were raised over 1,700 years ago, yet their purpose still invites questions. Axum was once the heart of one of the most powerful empires of the ancient world. It traded with Rome, India, and Persia, minted its own coins, and controlled key maritime routes. Wealth flowed through this kingdom, but Axum's influence was not only economic, it was spiritual. Ethiopia became one of the earliest nations to adopt Christianity, and Axum was at the center of that transformation. Here, belief is inseparable from legend. Axum is said to guard the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred chest believed to contain the original 10 Commandments. According to tradition, it was brought here centuries ago and remains hidden within the Church of St. Mary of Zion. One guardian monk, chosen for life, watches over it in solitude. No one else may see it. Whether myth or truth, the belief itself holds immense power. Faith shapes daily life in Axum. Pilgrims arrive year-round, walking long distances to pray, reflect, and reconnect with something ancient. Churches stand atop ruins, and rituals echo through spaces where empires once ruled. Time feels layered here. You are never standing in just one moment. Beyond the legends, Axum speaks through its silence. Fallen obelisks lie broken where they collapsed centuries ago, reminding visitors that even great powers fade. Yet the culture endured. Language, faith, and tradition survived long after political dominance disappeared. This continuity is rare. It speaks to a civilization rooted in more than conquest. The people of Axum live among this history without spectacle. Children play near ancient stones. Markets operate beside archaeological sites. Life continues not in opposition to the past, but in conversation with it. There is no separation between heritage and daily routine. As the sun lowers, shadows stretch across the ruins, and the stones glow softly. In this light, Axum feels less like a historical site and more like a memory the land refuses to release. It reminds us that history is not just recorded, it is believed, carried, and protected. Axum represents a core truth of Ethiopia. That identity is not built solely on power or time, but on continuity, on stories preserved through faith and tradition. In Axum, the ancient world does not feel distant. It feels present, waiting quietly for those willing to listen. Before the sun rises over Ethiopia's eastern horizon, the land already feels unreal. Colors shift from deep violet to burning gold, and the earth begins to glow as if lit from within. This is the Danakil Depression, one of the hottest and most extreme places on the planet. Standing here does not feel like visiting Africa. It feels like stepping onto another world. The Danakil lies far below sea level, where temperatures regularly climb beyond what the human body is meant to endure. The air shimmers, the ground crackles beneath your feet. Yet life exists here, stubborn and unyielding. This is a place where survival itself becomes a story of resilience. At the heart of this landscape is Dalol, a volcanic area unlike anything else on Earth. Pools of neon green, yellow, and orange bubble constantly, created by sulfur, salt, and geothermal gases pushing up from below. The ground appears painted, but every step must be taken carefully. These formations are alive, shifting daily, shaped by forces deep within the planet. Nearby, vast salt flats stretch endlessly toward the horizon. For centuries, the Afar people have carved salt from this land by hand, cutting large slabs and loading them onto camel caravans. These caravans move slowly across the desert, following routes older than recorded history. Salt here was once as valuable as gold, traded across kingdoms and continents. The Afar live where most humans could not. Their knowledge of the land is precise and inherited through generations. They understand the rhythms of heat, the signs of danger, and the fragile balance required to survive. In a land that appears hostile, they have built a life rooted in adaptation and endurance. But the Danakil is not only about survival, it is also about creation. Beneath the surface, tectonic plates pull apart, slowly giving birth to a new ocean basin. This is one of the few places on Earth where you can witness the planet being reshaped in real time. Volcanoes rise, cracks widen, the Earth breathes. At night, the landscape transforms again. Stars flood the sky without interference from cities or light. Lava lakes glow in the distance, their red light pulsing against the darkness. Silence dominates, broken only by the wind and the distant movement of the land itself. In this environment, fear and wonder exist side by side. The heat tests limits. The beauty disarms logic. The Danakil reminds us that Earth is not gentle by default. It is powerful, unpredictable, and alive. Yet Ethiopia embraces this extreme as part of its identity. From fertile highlands to volcanic deserts, the country holds the full spectrum of the planet's character. The Danakil Depression stands as a reminder that beauty does not require comfort, and life does not wait for perfect conditions. Here, in one of the harshest places on Earth, Ethiopia reveals another truth, that even in extremes, there is balance. Even in fire and salt, there is history. And even in the most alien landscapes, humanity finds a way to belong. But the story of this land does not end here. It continues in the voices of its people, in the strength of its traditions, and in the endless landscapes that have shaped its history. If Ethiopia has taught us anything, it is that this country is not meant to be understood in a single visit. It must be felt, lived, and experienced through every sense. As we step away from the deserts, the mountains, and the ancient cities, we return to the heart of Ethiopia, its people. This is a nation where identity is not only preserved, but celebrated. It is a place where culture is not a museum display, but a daily life lived with pride, where songs are not just entertainment, but history, where every ritual carries meaning, and every tradition is a thread connecting the past to the present. In the highlands, families gather in the evenings to share stories and coffee, and the aroma of roasted beans fills the air like a memory. In the villages, children run freely across open fields, their laughter echoing against the mountains. In the cities, markets buzz with energy, colors, and movement, and the pulse of modern life beats alongside ancient rhythms. Ethiopia is a country of contrasts, but the contrasts do not clash. They complement. They create a harmony that feels unique to this land. From the ancient churches of Lalibela to the ruins of Axum, from the wild beauty of the Simien Mountains to the harsh beauty of the Danakil, Ethiopia offers a full spectrum of human experience. It is a land where nature is not just seen, it is respected. Where faith is not just believed, it is lived. Where history is not only remembered, it is present. And yet, Ethiopia is not only a country of history, it is a country of potential. A nation rebuilding, evolving, and moving forward while still holding on to its identity. Ethiopia is changing, but it is not losing itself. The spirit of this place remains strong, and that is what makes it unforgettable. As we close this chapter, we are reminded that Ethiopia is more than a destination. It is a journey through time, culture, and human resilience. It is a place that challenges your assumptions and expands your understanding of what is possible. It is a land that does not ask to be understood quickly, because it cannot be. So if you take anything from this story, let it be this. Ethiopia is a reminder that the world still holds mysteries, wonders, and beauty that cannot be captured in a single frame. It is a place where the past is alive, where the present is vibrant, and where the future feels full of promise. We begin to understand that this country is not defined by a single landscape or a single story. It is a mosaic of experiences, each one unique, each one powerful. Ethiopia is a place where the land itself feels alive, where every mountain, valley, and desert holds a piece of history. In the north, the highlands rise like ancient giants, protecting sacred sites and shaping the lives of those who live among them. Here, faith is not confined to churches or monasteries. It flows through the air, the stones, and the people. Pilgrims travel for days to reach remote holy places, and their devotion is reflected in every step. The land demands respect, and the people respond with reverence. But Ethiopia's story is not only written in religion, it is also written in culture, in art, and in daily life. In the south, the Omo Valley remains one of the most culturally rich regions on Earth. Communities here live in harmony with the environment, practicing traditions that have survived for centuries. Their lives are not shaped by modern technology, but by the rhythms of nature. The Omo Valley reminds us that culture is not something you observe from a distance. It is something you experience. It is spoken through music, expressed through body art, and preserved through ritual. Each community is a world of its own, with its own language, its own history, and its own way of seeing life. In the west, the forests of Ethiopia offer another side of this country, one that is lush, green, and alive with biodiversity. Here, the land feels softer, but it is no less powerful. Wildlife thrives, and the environment provides a reminder that Ethiopia's beauty is not limited to its historical sites. From the lush forests to the arid deserts, Ethiopia is a land of extremes, and that extremity is part of its beauty. It shows us that nature can be both gentle and harsh, and that life can adapt to both. But perhaps the most powerful lesson of Ethiopia is not found in its landscapes. It is found in its people, in their resilience, their pride, and their connection to identity. Ethiopians have faced hardship, conflict, and change, yet they continue to hold on to their heritage. They continue to celebrate their culture. They continue to move forward. As we reach the final moments of this journey, we begin to realize that Ethiopia is not a place you can fully capture in a single trip. It is a country that must be revisited, explored, and experienced again and again, because every visit reveals something new, another story, another landscape, another truth. And so, we leave Ethiopia not with a sense of closure, but with a sense of wonder, because this is a country that refuses to be simple. It refuses to be summarized. It is too rich, too deep, and too alive for that. This country is a living story, It's not a destination you visit once and then understand. It's a place that continues to reveal itself, layer by layer, through its landscapes, its people, and its history. From the highlands to the lowlands, Ethiopia is a country of contrasts, yet these contrasts don't clash. They blend. They create a balance that feels natural, as if the land itself is designed to hold contradictions without breaking. Take the ancient city of Lalibela, for example, a place where stone becomes prayer and architecture becomes devotion. The churches here are not built upward to reach the sky. They are carved downward into the earth, creating a sacred world hidden below ground. Walking through Lalibela feels like stepping into another dimension, one where faith is physical and history is alive. Then there is Axum, where the ruins of a powerful empire still stand in quiet dignity. Massive obelisks rise from the ground, reminding us that this was once a kingdom that connected Africa to the ancient world. Axum's history is not only about power, but also about faith. It is believed to be the resting place of the Ark of the Covenant, a legend that has shaped Ethiopian identity for centuries. But Ethiopia is not only ancient monuments and sacred sites, it is also a country of wild beauty. The Simien Mountains rise like natural cathedrals, their peaks cutting the sky. Here, gelada monkeys roam the cliffs, and Ethiopian wolves move silently through the grasslands. The highlands are a reminder that nature can be both breathtaking and unforgiving, and that survival here requires strength. Then there is the Danakil Depression, one of the hottest places on Earth, a landscape of color and fire where volcanic activity creates surreal pools and mineral formations. It is a place that feels otherworldly, harsh, extreme, and strangely beautiful. Yet even here, life persists. The Afar people have lived in this environment for generations, carving salt from the land and navigating the desert with knowledge passed down through time. The Omo Valley, in the south, offers another kind of beauty, one that is cultural rather than geological. Communities here live in ways that have remained unchanged for centuries. Their traditions, languages, and rituals are a living record of humanity's diversity. To witness life in the Omo Valley is to understand that culture is not something that belongs in museums. It is alive, and it is evolving. Through all of this, Ethiopia teaches a lesson that is often overlooked, that the world is still full of places that cannot be fully understood through images alone. You cannot capture Ethiopia in a photograph and say you've seen it. You cannot describe it in a single paragraph and claim to know it. This country must be experienced, felt, and respected. And so, as we near the end of our journey, we realize that Ethiopia is not a story with an ending. It is a story that continues to unfold. Every landscape is a chapter. Every community is a page. Every tradition is a sentence that carries meaning across time. Ethiopia does not simply exist. It thrives. It evolves. It survives. And it inspires. If you leave this country with one thought, let it be this: Ethiopia is proof that the world still holds wonders. Wonders that demand patience, respect, and curiosity. And if you are willing to listen, Ethiopia will reward you with a deeper understanding of what it means to be human. We've traveled through Ethiopia's most breathtaking landscapes, ancient cities, and cultural crossroads. But the final truth of this country is not found in monuments or maps. It is found in the feeling that stays with you long after you leave, the sense that Ethiopia is not a place you visit, but a place you become part of. This land has been shaped by extremes. It has seen the highest peaks and the lowest valleys. It has endured heat that burns the skin and cold that bites the air. It has witnessed empires rise and fall, and still, it remains. Ethiopia is a country that refuses to be defined by limits. It redefines them. The people of Ethiopia carry their history not like a burden, but like a source of strength. They live with a sense of identity that is rare in today's world. Their traditions are not worn as costumes for tourists. They are lived, respected, and passed down. Every song, every dance, every ritual is a reminder that culture is not a relic. It is a living force. And yet, Ethiopia is not trapped in the past. It is moving forward. Cities are growing. New generations are redefining what it means to be Ethiopian in the modern world. But even as the country changes, its core remains the same, rooted in pride, resilience, and unity. In Ethiopia, you learn that beauty is not always gentle. Sometimes it is harsh, rugged, and demanding, but it is always real. It does not seek approval. It simply exists, bold, unfiltered, and unforgettable. As the sun sets over the highlands and the last light fades behind the mountains, you understand why Ethiopia is so different. It is a country that asks you to slow down, to listen, to observe, to respect, to experience without rushing. Because Ethiopia is not just a destination for travelers, it is a journey for the soul. If you came here looking for a place that fits neatly into a travel guide, you will leave confused. But if you came here looking for a place that challenges you, inspires you, and changes you, then Ethiopia will not disappoint. So, as we end the story, remember this. Ethiopia is not a place you simply see. It is a place you simply see. It is a place you feel. A place that teaches you that history is alive, nature is powerful, and culture is not something you consume, it is something you connect with. This is Ethiopia. A land of strength, mystery, and endless wonder. And the moment you leave, you realize something you didn't expect. You never truly leave. Ethiopia stays with you. And now, our journey through Ethiopia comes to an end. But the story doesn't end here. Ethiopia is not a place you visit once and forget. It's a place that stays with you long after you've left. From the sacred rock-hewn churches of Lalibela to the towering cliffs of the Simien Mountains, from the ancient ruins of Axum to the burning beauty of the Danakil Depression, Ethiopia is a country that challenges you, inspires you, and changes you. It teaches us that beauty doesn't always mean comfort, that culture is not just a tradition, it's a way of life, and that the world still holds places where history is alive, not just remembered. If this journey has shown you anything, it's that Ethiopia is not a destination you simply see. It's a place you feel. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And remember, some places don't just stay on the map, they stay in the heart. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels and see you in the next video.